was. I get being upset though, but I'm also like, ew. A spider outside my window just like fell from its web all of a sudden in the outside, and that was, ugh. Oh my god. Ew. I never want to see that again in my life.
Brought your army to my kingdom, James. Use it.
Oh, you beautiful, wonderful anime fan, Shelby here, and today we are doing another video episode, whatever you want to call it, of Anime Simp Hour, and this one is Professor Ozpin himself from RWBY. I know RWBY is technically an anime, not an anime. You know, there is a debate of that. It is, it isn't. But the reason I'm including him is because he just has so much, like, things to discuss. You know what I mean? He's got so much of a story, of a character, and I just feel like he has enough things to be put on this list, even though there is controversy of whether or not he is, you know, the show is anime or not. So, that's why I'm adding him, is because he just has so much deep stuff that we can just dive into. So I'm like, of course he needs to be included in this, regardless of if you believe it's an anime or not. Regardless, he's got enough of a story. We're going to talk about him. So, and he's hot. So, you know. We're going to add. Enjoying Anime Simp Hour as much as I am making them. I really hope you are, because I am having a lot of fun making them. I love making this. I love yapping about anime. I do be yapping. So I have been having so much fun making this and like coming up with the topics to discuss of the character. Like, this is what my notebook looks like. I have like little tabs for October, November, December. Like, I already have lists. This will be coming out in November. When I'm making this, it is October. So I am trying to keep ahead, and I have the chance to right now, so I am taking the advantage. But I'm having so much fun, and I hope by the time this comes out, you guys are too. And previous Anime Simp Hour, you can go find it. I'll put the link up here as well. And stay tuned to the end of the video to get the hint of the next character that will come out that I will discuss. So I will give you a quote at the end of every video of a hint of who the next character is. So you will get a chance to guess who you think the character is based on the quote I give you. A lot of them are going to be easy because I just can't come up with anything right on the fly because I don't plan ahead. I'm not like a few days in advance. I'm like, what quote should I do for this character to make it kind of challenging? I wait till I'm recording because I'm me and I procrastinate. So you get to also sit here and watch me on the spot come up with a quote. So some of them might be difficult, some might be tricky. There are some that I have recorded where I'm like, I could see it being difficult, but also not. So, I don't know. But, anyways, we are going to get started with this episode of Anime Simp Hour with Professor Ozpin. I'm really excited to do this one because Ozpin, again, I've said it a million times, he just has so much interesting stuff that we can dive into. So, I am so excited to get into this, okay? You have no idea. Because I love this man. Anyway. Let's see. Okay. I like that he starts off as this just headmaster of Beacon Academy. And I think you kind of know he's kind of like the main headmaster of the other schools too. He's not only the headmaster of Beacon, but he's also kind of the main one that the rest report to. So he's kind of like up there. And that's kind of what he starts out as. He's just a headmaster of Beacon Academy. He's cool. He's glasses. He's hot. And you're like, all right, this guy's cool. You're like, all right, you're chilling. I like you. And then, you know, you see him fight Cinder, which that fight is incredible. We're going to get into that one too. His semblance and ability is just awesome to watch. And you're like, all right, this guy's cool. And then, oh, by the way, he reincarnates. When he dies, he combines with the soul of another, of a like-minded soul, and potentially takes that person over when they are fully merged together. By the way, it's not by choice. It ain't by choice. And then you get even more tea. There's more tea to be spilled. Or in his case, coffee to be spilled, because he drinks coffee. What? Anyway, what kind of joke was that? Anyway, so you get the background of him and Salem, that they actually go back way further than expected. Like when first stuff started, it was Ozma and Salem, was his actual name, was Ozma. And they were romantically involved with each other. He was a soldier, brave man. I think he was a swordsman too, correct? Maybe not fully, but I just feel like every time we've seen him in like past lives, he's got like a sword or some type of weapon like it, at least. Like this one, he's got the cane, but you do see him with other ones, and it always seems to be a sword, 9 times out of 10. Anyway, but what? Ozma gets sick after so long and ends up dying. He got sick that he died, and Salem can't get over that. She can't get over the fact that he died and she's still living. So she tries to find a way to bring him back. And goes to, I believe, the God of Light. Real quick, I may not remember everything because it has been a hot minute. So if I forget somebody's name or I don't remember fully something, that's why, just because it's been a hot minute. But I at least know what I'm talking about. Like, maybe I can explain it to you. That way you'll be like, oh yeah, that person. That's who she's talking about. But I think she goes to the God of Light first to try to bring him back. And he's like, no, can't do that. Sorry. He's gone, right? And she then decides to turn her back on that and then goes to is it God of Darkness or something? I think it's like God of Light and God of Darkness. It's kind of like one of those situations, I believe. Could be wrong, but I believe. Anyway, she goes to him instead. Kind of goes behind the God of Light's back and is like, I'm going to go to this guy, which is basically like the devil, technically. And she's like, I will do anything to bring my beloved back, all this stuff. And I think if I remember correctly, he does do it. There is a glimpse of those two reuniting, but then I think the God of Light discovers what she was doing and appears, and there's the big fight, which is why the moon is cut in half, if I remember right. Again, I could be wrong, but if I remember right, that's why. So as a punishment for what she did, he put a curse on her that was, she could never die. She cannot die. At all. No matter how hard she tries, no matter what she does, she can no longer die. And then, I think if I remember right, she ends up causing some, havoc for a little while. And the God of Light actually finds Ozma in the afterlife or whatever, and gives him the option to return in another body, another person, and try and stop her, or try to, maybe I don't exactly remember what the full thing was. I think it was to stop her and to potentially actually succeed in killing her, I think. But I'm like, couldn't you just lift the curse and then just do something? You're the God of Light. Hello? I'm sure he could have done something instead putting Ozma through this, but I think Ozma originally wants to do it in order to help her. I think he had good intentions, because I think he thought, okay, if I go do this, then she'll see I'm alive, and maybe she will calm down. You know what I mean? I think he was truthfully wanting to try and help her, and knowing maybe the pain she had been through for so long with the loss of him. So he agrees to do it, and goes, and accepts all of that fate to try and help her. And it works for a little bit, if I remember correctly, when they reunite with each other afterwards. It worked. She ends up chilling out. They have children. I think it was 4 girls or something. And does it work? I don't fully remember exactly what ends up being the downfall. They argue. I just don't remember what the argument was. Getting into an argument, and they find each other, And she not only kills him again, not again, but she ends up killing him and their 4 children. Like, so now he gets reincarnated again for the 2nd time into another person, and I feel like he ends up like trying for a little bit and then kind of fades off. And I get that. That is a lot to handle. And she killed your children. Not only was she so easily able to kill you, she killed your children. Like, I get him getting a little bit of a like depression kind of after that, because that's a lot to handle, right? That is, I don't even want to think about that. But he kind of, I think, gives up for a while, if I remember correctly. And then he bounces back and ends up creating the schools to keep some of the relics away from her that could potentially, because if I remember right, she wants to destroy all of the world. That's what she wants. So she got all of these relics that the schools are protecting. She could succeed and kill basically everybody. And maybe she believes it can kill her too. Like, if I bring all these relics together and it kills everybody, it will kill me too. Like, she'll finally have death, I think, is kind of the thing. Because she clearly wants to die. That's what she wants. She doesn't want to live anymore. So, I mean, yeah, for how long she's been around, I don't want to do it. But so he builds all the schools, gets like the headmasters, get all of those people in line, and creates the schools to keep those away from her. And gives some of his power to maidens that can protect the relics that are inside. And so there's like there's Summer Maiden, Winter Maiden, Spring Maiden, and I believe a Fall Maiden. They're like the seasons. And so a lot of their power is from him. Like his specific power. I think it was originally his, if I remember right. And I get, when Team Ruby and stuff and Crow find out the truth, I get why they're upset. I really do, especially Crow. I do understand being upset, him keeping this from them, him not knowing the truth as to, like, what was actually going on, just how actually strong and capable Salem was. I get being upset, though, but I'm also like, ew. A spider outside my window just, like, fell from its web all of a sudden in the outside, and that was, oh my god. Ew. I never want to see that again in my life. Oh god. Anyway. Ew. Oh, that was gross. Okay, I hate spiders if you can't tell. And wasps. I hate them so much. Anyway. But I understand. Like, I get why they're mad. They have every right to be upset. But I'm also kind of like, can you blame him? Like, first of all, it wasn't his fault. In my personal opinion of the backstory of Salem and Ozpin, I don't blame Ozpin for any of this. He died. Ozma died. He did nothing wrong. It was Salem who couldn't deal with the fact of losing him. And went behind the God of Light's back and did something she should not have done. So I don't really blame him for all of this. It's not his fault. Even though he probably takes a lot of the blame of it, it wasn't his fault. He died. Like, you have to... It was on her because she couldn't handle it. And at least he is trying to do something about it. You know what I mean? Like, yes, he did have a little bit there of failing, or of depression and not really doing anything, but I'm like, again, would you blame him? She killed 4 of their children. He had children. This man technically had kids, and she killed them, including him. And I'm like, I truthfully don't blame him. I get why they're mad, though. But I don't blame him in the way some other people do. I personally think his intentions in the beginning were to just try to help her. And I think he thought he could. And technically he did. He did succeed in trying to help her. It just didn't work out as long as I think they were expecting it to. And they had a right to be upset, but I do think there comes a point where I think by this point they've probably realized it now, that I don't think they're fully mad at him anymore. Now that they've had time to process it, think about it, everything else, it's kind of like, okay, we do kind of understand why you didn't tell anybody and why you were this way. And I think honestly the one who upset him the most was probably Crow. I think that was hard for Ozpin to, probably like a stab in the heart, to see Crow react the way that he does when he finds out the truth, because I think him and Crow are very close. And I think that was probably what he was most afraid of, I think he was afraid of everybody getting mad at him like they do, but I think he was also worried about how Crow would react to the situation. And I mean, his intentions are so there. You know, he's trying to keep those things away from her to prevent that from happening. But again, their being upset is very valid. I just don't think I would blame him in the way everybody else is. Maybe initially, but then once you think about it, you're like, but what did he really do wrong? You know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of a variable there of not fully knowing. His backstory is a thing that is wild to me, because he just starts off as just this headmaster at Beacon. He's just like, you know, he's cool. He's a cool headmaster. He's hot, you know, and you're like, all right, this guy's cool. And then just all of this happened, and I'm like, holy shit. And, you know, I do believe that Oscar is going to be the last one, the last, like, reincarnation, because of how similar he looks to Ozma. All the other ones that we've seen have never fully looked like him until Oscar. When it shows, like, them seeing the backstory and Oscar is standing behind Ozma, they look very similar. Like, that could be his father, for all we know. Is how similar they look. And I'm like, that is insane. And that's why I think he is going to be like the last reincarnation of Ozma, is because of how similar he looks. Because that's normally how it goes. You know, when something like this happens, it's always the one that looks the closest to the original. Or acts like the original. Or, you know, something like that. And I think Oscar is definitely that. To a T. And yeah. His story is honestly just nuts. It's insane. I also want to know everybody's opinion on, do you think Ozpin is going to die at the end of this? I really don't want him to. I don't want him to die, but I can see the potential of him dying. Just because of the circumstances. And once he's done his duty, I can see his death happening. I personally don't want him to. I want him to stay alive and see the world after and not have that worry anymore, and actually be able to like live and, you know, see him continue to be a fatherly figure to Oscar, but in an actual physical sense instead of just in his brain. You know? But if he does die, they better not also kill Oscar. If they don't kill Oscar, I'm gonna rage. Then go suck a lemon. Like that. The creator, whoever made this, can go suck a lemon. If Oscar dies, I am gonna be so mad. Like, I will fight. I will fight someone. Like, I don't want him to die. I love him so much. And when he fights Cinder in the beginning, and it kind of shows off his semblance and some other stuff. I loved that. Because we all could agree the animation at the beginning of RWBY is not the greatest. I think it gets better season 3 and after. Season 3 is not bad. I think the rest are better, but it's more tolerable than like the other ones. But I think 3 onward is really good. And the animation too for their fight I think is really good. And I really enjoy that fight. I hate that he dies. Like, that's the moment where he dies. Is against Cinder because he's trying to protect Beacon and the Fall. He was trying to protect the Fall Maiden at the time. But, you know, Cinder ends up becoming the Fall Maiden. But it's just really fun fight. And I love when we get introduced to Oscar in little farm boy. And he's like looking in the mirror and stuff, kind of like looking at his hair, like something's off. And then he just hears Professor Ozpin's voice saying his name, and the way Oscar like, ah! And like jumps, like falls backward. I love that moment. That moment was so funny. That gets me every time. He's like, hello, I'm Professor Ozpin. He's like, ah! He's like, oh shit! That is always funny to me. But I do hate that he dies in that moment, but I think it kind of makes sense because how else are you going to introduce Oscar to the story? You know? And I really want Oscar to be somebody a little bit more than just the reincarnation. I want him to be like, I don't know. I want him to be something. You know, we don't know much about his family. Maybe I can add Oscar to this at some point. And we can discuss that little cinnamon roll. Really sad too when he merges with Oscar is you can tell from the moment it happens he doesn't want to do it. Like you can tell Ozpin does not want to merge with him at all. And because he's a child, and I definitely think over time he starts to actually care about Oscar. I think he actually kind of gets an understanding of Oscar as a not a character, but you know, as a child, as a man, you know, he really starts to, I think, show that he does care about him and that he truly doesn't want to do this. And you can hear it in his voice a lot when he talks to Oscar or when they are like switching places. I think you can really tell. And it makes me really sad because, yeah, he is in a like child. I remember how old he is. I can't remember how old Oscar is. He's like 15, 16, something like that. Maybe a little bit older. And you might potentially take this child over and become him, and he has no say in it. Like, all of the other people he's merged with, that's another thing too. All the people he's merged with have been older, if I remember correctly. I think Oscar is the first one that's the youngest. And so out of the other ones who were adults were probably like, you know, he was probably like whatever with. But this is a child that he is having to do this to. And it's really sad because you can so tell he does not want to. To kind of get to know Oscar, you can really see the, you know, the moments there. And it's just, I like them, honestly. I want to see Oscar and Ozpin together outside of this. Like, having them side by side instead of in his mind. I have kind of made I have made the comment a couple times already that I think Ozpin's hot, and he is. I like his hair. His hair is kind of cool. I like the glasses. The glasses, for some reason, are a cool touch to me. I don't know why. I think he's hot when he wears them. And I like, whoever voices him, I like the voice that goes with. I feel like it really fits him very well. And I don't know. I like characters like Ozpin. You know, the ones, like I said this in my video about Jinshi, that I like characters who start off here as just like a whatever character. They're introduced. They seem to be important, but you don't know much. They're kind of chilling. And then just become way more important. And I really like characters like that. So I think that's why I like Jinshi, because he starts off, like I said, as just a eunuch. An attractive eunuch who's a pretty eunuch, and then turns into way more than that. Way more than just a eunuch. And I like characters like that because I think it's fun to kind of, you know, you don't expect the character, you don't expect Ozpin to be as important as he is until it comes up. And you're like, oh, uh-huh, I see. Like, really now? And I just, he's pretty. He was probably one of my first, like, crushes when I started. I watched Ruby before Seven Deadly Sins. So, if you don't consider it an anime, my first anime, like, crush was Meliodas. But if you do count it as an anime, my first crush was Professor Ozpin. But, yeah. He's just pretty. He's just really hot. I want to see him, too, more in the newer animation. Because previous season, I think 9, was really stunning and incredible. And I loved it. And so I hope season 10 is close to the same. I know it was given to, was it Viz Media? I believe it was Viz Media. I hope they create it just as well for animation-wise. But I want to see him in, like, the newer animation style. Because we haven't seen him since season 3. And even though season 3, I think the animation is better, season 9 is, like, 10 times better. So it would be really cool to see him in the newer style. Just saying. I said it a little bit earlier, but I like his, like, friendship kind of with Crow. I kind of like the loyalty that Crow seems to have, especially in the beginning. I love the line that he says shortly after first meeting Crow. And he's talking to Winter, Ironwood, and Ozpin in Ozpin's office. And I think Ironwood is like, if I was one of your men, I'd have you shot or something. And Crow's like, if I was one of your men, I'd shoot myself. Like, not only was that an insult to Ironwood, it was also a compliment towards Ozpin, if you think about it. Because he's like, oh, if I worked for you, I would kill myself. I would shoot myself. Because I work for him, he doesn't do that. So because he works for Ozpin, he doesn't do that. But if he worked for Ironwood, he would do that. I love that insult. If I was one of your men, I'd shoot myself. Meaning that he's fine working for Ozpin, but not him. And you know what? Who can also go suck a lemon is Ironwood. Okay? Ironwood can go suck a lemon. Become sour. I did 100. I liked Ironwood, but he wasn't, like, one of my tops at the time. And then everything that happened in Atlas, I was like, dude, you just suck. Like, Salem is playing a chess game, and she played you like the game. She played you like a fiddle. I mean, she knew exactly how to get him, and it worked so perfectly, even though he was told. I'm pretty sure he was told. And still just went along with it anyways and backstabbed Ozpin. Don't even get me started on him shooting Oscar. Don't even get me started. You can go suck a lemon. Anyway. Okay. That is mostly what I have around Ozpin. We really did a deep dive into his story and kind of like what, you know, my opinions are. I would love to know what your guys' opinions are. Do you think Team Ruby and Crow and everyone has the, you know, is valid in being upset with him? Do you think it was his fault? Do you maybe feel like he deserves a little bit of that hate in the beginning? And yeah, just let me know what you guys think. For anybody who's Ruby fan out there and watching this, let me know what your opinions are, and let me know if I missed anything, so that way if season 10 ever comes out, I can do a part 2, and we can, if there is anything to discuss around Ozpin, I can make sure to include it. Or if I don't get a lot of stuff, I could do just like a quick short and discuss it if I missed anything. So, be sure to tell me that in the comments. Boom. Anyway, or Oscar. Ozpin is just such a fun character. I love him. I love the story behind him. For this show, I think he is an incredible, compelling character because of his story and just how important he actually is. So, it's really fun to me. And let me know who your favorite is. I need the RWBY fans to unite in the chat and discuss him because he's just a fun character in the show to talk about. And let me know if I do another RWBY one, who you guys would want. I might do Oscar, but if I get enough recommendations of somebody else, I can do that. But I will probably eventually do Oscar because Oscar is my favorite. He rolls. Okay. Try to think about the hint for the next character because I'm realizing I have not thought about that. So, for the next Anime Simp Hour video after this one, this is your hint quote of the next character it will be. Okay? A little bit of a long one here. Okay, guys ready? Are you ready? Okay. Okay. I just want to enjoy myself. Seriously. Do some leisurely patrolling, put in a few appearances, say, "Ah, shucks, no trouble today," and get a good night's sleep. That's my ideal life. Let me know in the comments who you think it is. I think that gives a little bit of hint. You know, the word patrolling kind of gives a little bit of a hint here. You know, I can say it's a popular anime if that helps. So yeah. See if you can figure out what that one, or I think did I say leisurely correctly? Leisurely? I don't know. Anyway, might have said that wrong, but you know what I meant. But in the comments again, let me know who you think the next character will be based off of that quote right there. And I hope you guys enjoyed this Anime Simp Hour video around Professor Ozpin. And like always, I am happy you were here. Believe it.
Anyway, bye-bye.